Have you ever looked at your life and wondered if there's more than what you see? Maybe it happens when you're walking down the street, surrounded by people, yet you suddenly feel like you're not just here. That this moment, this place, is somehow connected to something far bigger than you've ever been told. We grow up learning rules of reality. Wake up, work, eat, sleep, repeat. But in quiet moments, a thought slips in. What if reality isn't fixed? What if it bends, stretches, even dissolves, depending on how you look at it? That's where four-dimensional thinking begins. Not the dry math equation you once hated in school, but the art of expanding your mind beyond three-dimensional walls. Imagine time not as a line, but as a landscape. Imagine choices not as single roads, but as branching rivers that exist at once. What if past, present, and future are happening right now, layered like invisible pages in a book you're only just learning to open? Most of us see ourselves as trapped inside the moment, stuck between yesterday and tomorrow. But in four-dimensional thought, you aren't trapped at all. You're a traveler. Time is no longer a cage. It's a map. And with every decision you make, you step into a new version of that map, carving out a path that was always waiting for you. Think about déjà vu. That strange flash when a moment feels familiar, as if you've already lived it. Science shrugs it off as a brain glitch. But what if déjà vu is your mind brushing against another timeline? A parallel echo where you already stood in this spot, said these words, breathed this air. In four-dimensional space, déjà vu isn't an accident. It's a reminder. You're moving across layers of existence, far beyond what your senses can decode. But how do you live this way? How do you think in four dimensions when your body is stuck in three? It begins with breaking habits of sight. We're taught to see walls as walls, clocks as clocks, endings as endings. Yet a clock is not a circle of numbers. It's a doorway showing that time itself is circular. An ending is not a stop, but a pivot. Once you stop forcing reality to stay rigid, you notice it shifting. Doors appear where you saw only walls. New timelines whisper through your intuition. Let's go deeper. Picture yourself holding a memory from childhood. Maybe a summer afternoon. Maybe the sound of laughter. Maybe the smell of rain. That memory is alive. You can step into it, feel it, relive it. Why? Because memory isn't stored in the past. It's stored across dimensions, accessible now. When you understand that, you stop being the victim of time. The past isn't gone. The future isn't far. They're threads of one single tapestry, waiting for you to touch. Four-dimensional thinking also transforms your choices. In three dimensions, you believe there's only one decision, right or wrong, yes or no. But in four, every choice unfolds into multiple realities. And each of those realities is just as real as the one you're standing in. When you decide, you're not just choosing, you're shifting. You're stepping into the timeline where that version of you already exists. You're aligning with the future you've chosen. This isn't philosophy, it's power. Because when you truly grasp it, fear loses its grip. Fear thrives on the idea of finality, that if you fail, it's over. But four-dimensional thought reveals nothing is ever final. Failure is simply one branch of the river. You can step to another. You can change. At any moment, you can shift into a reality where you are already thriving, already living the life you dream of. And here's the most stunning part. You've already done it. Every dream you've ever had, every version of yourself you've imagined, already exists in the four-dimensional field. You don't create from nothing. You tune into what's already real. Like tuning a radio, you shift frequencies. That's why visualization works. That's why affirmations carry power. You're not convincing yourself of lies. You're aligning with the truth of another dimension where your success is already happening. Think of it this way. You stand at the shore of a vast ocean. You can't see the other side, but you know it's there. Each wave that rises and falls is a timeline, a possibility. In 3 dimensions, you believe you're stuck with one wave, but in 4, you can move across them, surf from one crest to another. Each wave is real, each carries you somewhere different. And the ocean itself, that's consciousness. Infinite, eternal, beyond beginning or end. Now pause, feel the weight of that idea, because if it's true, then nothing you fear is permanent. No mistake, no loss, no heartbreak. They are waves. They rise, they fall. And in another dimension, another you is already whole, already healed, already free. When you think this way, you stop clinging, you stop fighting, you learn to flow. That's the secret that sages, mystics, and visionaries have whispered across centuries. The secret isn't in escaping life. It's in expanding the way you see it. But don't confuse four-dimensional thinking with fantasy. It isn't pretending the world is different. It's perceiving the world as it truly is. Reality has always been layered. You're simply blindfolded by habit, by belief, by fear. Remove the blindfold, and you'll notice what was there all along. Subtle signs, synchronicities, patterns in chaos, a sentence from a stranger that feels meant for you, a coincidence too perfect to dismiss. These are cracks in the 3-dimensional wall, hints that you're already standing in the 4. And here lies the challenge. Once you see, you can't unsee. Once you realize time bends, choices branch, and futures overlap, life becomes a playground. But it also becomes a responsibility. Because if every choice shifts you into a new dimension, then you are accountable for the reality you create. Blame loses its meaning. Destiny becomes a canvas, and you hold the brush. What will you paint? The greatest thinkers of history, Einstein, Tesla, mystics from the East, shamans from forgotten tribes, they all touched the 4-dimensional truth. They spoke of energy, vibration, frequency. They described worlds beyond sight. They hinted that consciousness doesn't just observe reality, it shapes it. And now, in your lifetime, you have the chance to live it, not just imagine it. So ask yourself, are you willing to see differently? Are you willing to step beyond the illusion of time? Because when you do, life transforms. You stop chasing. You start aligning. You stop fearing the unknown. You realize the unknown is simply another room in a house you've always lived in, but never entered. Close your eyes. Imagine the version of you you've always wanted to be. Happy, fulfilled, free. In 4-dimensional thought, that version is not a dream. It is real, waiting. All you need to do is step into it. All you need to do is tune your mind to the frequency where it already exists. And maybe, just maybe, you'll wake up tomorrow and feel it. The subtle shift, the sense that reality has cracked open a little wider. That time no longer weighs heavy on your shoulders. That you, at last, are more than a passenger in this universe. You are a creator. This is the art of 4-dimensional thinking. Not a theory, not a fantasy, a doorway. A truth that has always been waiting for you. The question is, will you step through?